This is our garden walk for September 15th, Saturday, 2023. Our guide is ready. You can see he's eating a little grass. I think he eats grass to show me that he can eat grass. I'm not sure why he does that. We're going to come out here and I try to do as good at camera work as I can, but I've got hips, knees, ankles, feet. Lantana, Dana. This one's spread by the birds and has gone native a long time ago. This is my second favorite. I can give you some seeds if anybody wants them. We call that, to get on that Proton Mail account. And then, by the way, I'm washing some clothes, so this sprinkler is on. These are those Mexican lilacs. This is a sledgehammer head. One of my friends sold it to me for like $1 or something. And I took a piece of what they call suck rod, 3/4 inch round rod, and some hose. It's not a regular garden hose. It's something a little tiny bit bigger. I don't know, it's 3/4, 7/8 hose, something like that. So as we amble on with the not very good feet and the not very good camera work. I was never probably the steadiest cameraman in the world anyway. But we're walking. There he is eating that. That's coastal Bermuda grass. That's the garlic chives. I saved some seeds last year, so I have some. And I could send somebody some. I think even if I only find like 10 of them for you, what I did all those years ago was I put the 10 or 20 seeds in a 4-inch pot. I think I had maybe several 4-inch pots, and grew them in a bunch, and then I came and put over there by the wellhead in a spot where it gets wetted, and somehow or other that was a survival spot. Mr. Tractor was out here working yesterday, and it's about 10 minutes or something. This is all just with the tandem disc. It's a really good implement if you're... I know it's really hard to afford anything these days. If you can get some old tractor and fix it up a little and put some baling wire, just anything you can do, just get a little tractor going. It's so good. That's a shredder that goes on it. And then this over here is I do have a YouTube video with this plow actually working, filmed off the seat, with the steering wheel in one hand and the camera in the other. So the camera work is not exceptional. This thing is hard to move around. That's one heavy mother. With a more powerful tractor than the Ford 8N, this thing can really rip up the ground. I'm limited to... I kind of would rather have a single bottom. I'm limited to... I don't let it get in too deep because I can be in low gear, full throttle, and it just will not... if it gets in deep enough, it just will not pull it. Of course, you got the 3-point is made for raising and lowering. This only took me about 15 minutes. And what I did, it's kind of like a race course. This is the the work area, and I went from this side to that side because that's uphill. The erosion is going to bring the soil back this way, but not much because I usually have something on it, except like last month I didn't, but there was this 105-degree heat, and big surprise, it was the average daytime high I think was like probably something like 103, 105. Some of them were 108. Of course, that's not global warming. I understand to join the cult you have to not believe in global warming. So like we had 9 of the last 10 years are in the hottest years on record. I think that's what they said. But that's just the weather. These are mostly zucchinis. Some of these might be yellow squash. In my inimitable way, I saved a bunch of seeds out of one big fat zucchini, which I still have some. So you can glom onto whatever I can put in a first-class envelope and get away with it. Would be about 15 seeds. I don't think it's supposed to be smooth and uniform and not over a 1/4 of an inch thick. And then I put a non-machinable stamp on it, which is 70 cents or something. And we're good to go. In which I'm not too worried about the 70 cents. I tried to make this earlier. I made one that's labeled the 10th, and I think it's actually the 11th. And the battery died while I was making it, so it stopped. YouTube wouldn't accept it as an upload, so I put it on my MediaFire account, which you might have it's just my name on MediaFire. And I'll put the link in the description if I remember to. And you can download that file. And I found I could watch it on the VLC player. It's mostly a video player, but you can play music on it too. It does a lot of stuff. For Linux, I run Ubuntu. Why don't you? I don't know what the Windows thing can do, because I don't understand why you would want to be snooped on by Microsoft and pay Microsoft money for the right to use an inferior operating system when Linux also has the software. I will, if you get through to me, Drake Hovitt at Proton Mail, if you can get through to me, if I remember to read my Proton Mail account, and hell, I'll give you a phone number, or if the cell phone gets going, it has long distance, and I can call some long distance without paying any more money than I would call you, or you would call my landline. And I'll tell you, like, what you need to do, but it's really simple. You figure it out yourself. Just look up Ubuntu, and then there's a whole trip that you do where you install it with a USB flash drive, we call it. So I think that's the best name for them. This was all supposed to be perennial bed. Lots of luck. Whole lot of wheat spilled over there because that's where I did my winnowing. And this is the brush heap compost pile. You never need to go to the dumps. You just get a little corner like this that isn't much use anyway, and just throw the stuff. And when I was a little younger, I would have just walked on this pile during summer when it was all dry and crackly. If you somehow can do it, you want to put, the perfect thing to do is to put this heap like this out in the sun in some spot that you don't need for anything else. And it's like probably your firewood work area. And then you would get your neighbor or somebody to come over with a bulldozer and drive over it. If it's dry, man, you cat the stuff down and it just smushes it. Just, and then you can take things like rakes and pitchforks or by hand. If your back is like mine, you can sit in a chair and just pick up pieces and just collect that stuff up and use it for barbecue wood or fire starters or kindling, what have you, depending on what's in there. And at some point, if you were the kind of big time player, you'd take the bulldozer and push the whole pile over, like to adjacent but not too adjacent spot. This was just a bunch of junk, and I dissed it down because it helps. This was like, I was going to make a food forest thing here, but the food didn't seem to want a forest. It's this business with my soaker hoses under the landscape fabric with mulch to protect the polypropylene landscape fabric from degradation by the sun. Yes, I'm using plastic. I'm not entirely happy with that. I think it'd be really cool if this landscape fabric would come in like hemp with some sort of natural stuff added, like some, I don't know, natural oil or something that would delay its rotting so that it would last a few years. But it would still all be biodegradable. That's just topsoil there. I got that from the same guy that brought my sand over here. It's a cool thing in West Texas where, like, I mean, I hope you aren't going to get mad and not watch these garden walks if I talk a little bit about politics. I'm a socialist and all my friends are MAGA. And actually we want all the same things. Just really stupid that we have this socialism bad, communism bad. It comes from people that, it's like the reason they're attacking Russia, they don't want a near-peer competitor. And they hate China because China is showing how you can take 800,000 indeed, 800 million people out of extreme poverty. That's like $2 a day by the UN in 10 or 20 years with socialism. And you can put them in extreme poverty with capitalism. So, come to your own conclusions. I just do facts, and then I say, what about this? And I don't see how we're going to make it with these neoliberals running everything. All the money goes to the rich. Wherever they're killing people in Ukraine. We killed 6 million people in the war on terror. And where was the terror? 9/11? And I agree with a lot of the MAGA guys that 9/11 was probably done by the CIA. Building 7 and all that. And they killed Kennedy, and they wanted Martin Luther King to commit suicide, and that was the FBI. But this whole deep state, and it's just no way to run a world. I'm really encouraged with here's my poor little succulents, the third of them that are still even alive. The sun and the heat just wiped them out, and here they are under the trees. This heat from the climate change that's not happening is pretty absurd. And here he comes. Look at that. He's been clocked at 18 miles an hour. I mean, it's nothing to a greyhound would be like, that's pretty slow. You don't have no third gear? But for a pit bull, that's pretty amazing. And he's a good boy, aren't you, P? You're a good boy. Pookie tookie tookie toe. We're here. Smile for the camera. Isn't that a pretty face? Yes, it is. So I guess he figures this has been long enough. So I'll see if I can get that thing. It is on MediaFire already. The other one of these. And I'm trying to remember to check the Proton mail. It's been like, most of the time I check it, there's nothing on it. But, and I'm hoping I'm not going to get spammed. I'm not going to buy anything, so I don't have any money, so don't even bother if you're a spammer. But we'll have little stuff. Nobody seems to take me up on these seed things, but I'm not kidding. You can have all this kind of stuff. It's fine. I don't even have a way to get the postage money from you, but you can just give it to Gray Zone. They're lefties, but they do fact journalism, so you can be a right-wing guy. That's Mr. Cardinal up there. I can't even see him in the viewfinder, but you probably can, a little red spot. Oh, he's kind of getting into the shade now. And then this is a perennial bed over here. Where are we? That's it there. There might be something living still underneath. We'll see. And so I guess that was it.